I'm probably setting myself up for failure on this one, but I'm going to take my Tesla Model Y with full self-driving 10.12.2 out for a test drive in one of the busiest areas that I know, downtown Nashville, Tennessee. Just slow it down a little bit so that it has time to react. Bring it right down to the speed limit of 25. Car is doing a great job maintaining the right side of the road. Let's see what it does here with the parked car and the garbage trucks. Good, it maneuvered right around those just perfectly. We've got a worker here on the right hand side. Same thing, maneuvers just out of the way. I do like how the car does navigate towards the center line when there's an obstacle parked on the right side of the road. We're going to make a right turn here at this unprotected intersection. And it proceeded through that intersection very well. So far, no interventions. We're going to see if we can make that trend stick. No guarantees. This is a very busy drive. Not so bad here. This is actually pretty calm, but as we get towards the downtown area, there's going to be a lot more traffic and a lot of pedestrians to maneuver around. So stay tuned to the end to see that. All right, we're going down this boulevard very nicely. It's maintaining lane discipline. It's going to make a left-hand turn up here. This is a four-way stop. We do have another car just going through the intersection. Car stops, no other traffic in the intersection. And it proceeds through there just fine. We are at an intersection here. The car proceeds onto the route correctly. Up here in about 2 blocks, we're going to be making a left-hand turn. This will take us down Main Street, and that'll be our main drive through the Capitol area into downtown. Car has picked a nice, confident line through the intersection. No, it doesn't. That's an intervention right there. It was going to turn into the opposite direction lane, so I had to take over at that point. All right, now that the turn is complete, re-enable full self-driving. And we will continue on our route. So I misspoke back there when I said the car was picking a confident line. As I looked down at the screen, I saw that the blue tentacle right out in front of the car here was kind of wavering, so it really didn't have a clean line through that intersection picked for its own navigation. And that's why I got confused and eventually just missed that. So I thought the lane was merging there, so I grabbed the control just to take over for the car. It actually wasn't. It was a straight through. Car is slowing down for the truck here on the right hand side because we had a little bit of traffic construction cones on the side, and so it had to slow down to make spacing for both vehicles to pass. So I thought that that was very well handled. And at this point, I'm going to leave the set speed where the car pre-selects it, so that's 5 miles an hour over the speed limit. I may reduce that as we get into heavier traffic just to see how things progress, but for safety. But I want to leave it here as the default because traffic in this neighborhood does tend to move pretty fast. All right, we made the green light transition and we are through the intersection. A little bit of phantom braking right there. I think that was a result of me not having my hand on the steering wheel. It did flash blue saying it was waiting for my input just to make sure that I was there with it. So I'm just going to rest my finger on the steering wheel to prevent that error again. And we're cruising along really nicely in the right-hand lane. Good flow of traffic. I do have my set speed at 5 over and my follow distance at 2 car lengths behind the vehicle in front. So the car does get over to the right lane, which is actually more of like a turning parking lane. And it's not really sure, but I don't see solid lane markings on the road. I did eventually land in the correct lane here for our route. We're going to go just a little bit to the right and then we'll make a left-hand turn, but that's not going to be for about a mile yet. So this is a fine lane for us to be in for this point of the drive. So far, in terms of interventions for the vehicle, I've not pressed the accelerator to help it go. I did disconnect the autopilot once intentionally as it was going through the intersection to prevent it from entering into the wrong lane, the oncoming traffic. And then I inadvertently disconnected it. The car would have proceeded fine through that. So we'll call it one intervention so far. We are coming up on a lane merge here. And the car is signaling the merge. It's actually hugging into that lane, so that I'm going to disconnect just for safety. It was kind of straddling between 2 lanes, and there's a solid white line that it shouldn't have crossed over. So I'm actually going to go ahead and report that because I think that was a safety issue. I should have reported the attempted turn into the appropriate lane earlier as well, but I didn't think about it at the time. So it's signaling a change into the right lane. I'm going to actually cancel that because we're eventually going to want to be in the left lane for our navigation. So we'll just stay here. I think it is trying to get into the faster lane for traffic. And we do have a sign up ahead, which I don't think the car is programmed to detect, and that is a red flashing X that says left lane ends when flashing merge right. So we will eventually want to merge right here. So I'll go ahead and put the turn signal on. We'll let the car take the right lane, the middle lane I should say. So far we have 3 interventions. The attempted turn into the oncoming traffic lane at the stoplight, where it merged into or straddled 2 lanes just now, and then where it sat in the left lane. That actually wasn't an error with the car, it just isn't programmed yet to detect that kind of a traffic sign, but it still was an intervention, so we'll count that as an intervention already also. Alright, we're crossing the river into the downtown Nashville area. We are on Main Street. We're going to cross this bridge and then make a left-hand turn up here. And the car is proceeding through the intersection nicely. This is where it starts to get even busier. Okay, the car did pick a nice route through there. It does make a change into the left turn lane, which is appropriate for the route. However, the line is a solid white line and the vehicle shouldn't cross that, so it should have done that a little earlier. We won't count that as an intervention, but that is an error in the navigation. Okay, we've got the green arrow the car is making a turn. We see that there is a nice line through this intersection. Those are my loose bags in the back if you heard that noise during the turn. And we are in the right turn lane appropriate for our route. We have a green turn signal here on Dr. Martin Luther King Boulevard. And the car did turn appropriately into the right lane, so it made a change from right lane to right lane during that turn. It is stopping here for the red light. And it did stop in time for the white lane intersection hold short line or stop line. It tends to maneuver that very well if it catches a red light in time. Sometimes when it's a yellow light that changes red, it'll stop and end up past the line. But this drive is actually looking pretty good from that regard. We've got a green light. We're proceeding through the intersection. We're going to go up to the top of the hill here and make a right-hand turn, drive around the capital of Tennessee. So that clicking noise that you hear is the brake. It's depressing and then releasing very quickly as the car wants to proceed. It's just waiting for this bus to begin moving. So we got forward motion going through the intersection, this green light. And we will make a right-hand turn up here at the intersection. Car slows down for the turn, goes through just fine, and then it enters the single lane road very well. So it is showing a 15-mile-an-hour speed zone. Set speed here is 20. I think that's valid because there are speed bumps here. We're going to go over the first one as we drive around the state capitol. Handled that speed bump very well. That was comfortable. I do see a speed limit sign up here for 10 miles an hour. Although I noticed it did not pick up that speed zone change, speed limit change. It is going at driving at 13 miles an hour though, so that's very appropriate, and I'm very thankful because we're going by a little girl and I don't want the car doing anything potentially dangerous as we drive through there. So this is actually very, very good, very comfortable pace. We're coming up on another speed bump. And that's good. So I'm going to go ahead to the next point on our route. We're going to be making a left-hand turn on this unprotected intersection. We do have traffic coming in from both the left and the right. It says on the screen autopilot's creeping forward for visibility. I do see traffic coming in from the right. The left looks clear right now. The right is now clear. That's good. The car actually picked that very well. We're going to be making a right-hand turn right away. It's a little hesitant in which lane it wanted to get into, but it landed in the correct lane. So not the most comfortable turn, but I think it was it was effective anyways. All right, we are making a right-hand turn. We do have a truck backing up here. Car did slow down just to make sure that that wasn't moving into our way. And we're going to proceed straight through this intersection, through the stoplight. All right, so now we've got car, 2 pedestrians, and a truck that's backing up in front of us. So this will be very complex traffic navigation. The pedestrians are actually safety workers for the truck, just to make sure that nobody is driving into the way of this wrecker service. So we're getting the green light, or getting the thumbs up from the workers to let traffic go through. So they stepped off the road. The car in front of us that we're following is there. We do have a pedestrian right on the street. He's actually with the wrecker company, I believe. Just going to creep ahead here to the intersection. So I'm hitting the accelerator just a little bit to encourage the car to go at that point, telling it it's safe. We'll call that an intervention as well. Yeah, we're doing a pretty good job here on this street, just doing a follow mode with the car in front of us. I'm going to go through this intersection here at Church Street and take a left on Commerce, move around the block to the Ryman Auditorium. All right, so at this intersection we do have traffic, but we have a green light. There's a pedestrian waiting for their turn to pass. Car did perceive that correctly. All right, so that was a little dodgy there. The car wasn't really sure which lane it wanted to go into. I think it saw this oncoming car and wanted to move into the other lane for that, but then realized there were parked cars there. This is an unprotected left turn at a green light. And I did take over at that point, because our car did not want to yield for that vehicle making the right-hand turn. He had the right-of-way, we did not, and our car did not stop appropriately for the turn at that intersection. So we are going to make a right-hand turn correction at this intersection, turn right onto 4th Avenue North, and then hook around and go to the Ryman Auditorium. So we're going to be making a right-hand turn here. Cars in the correct lane for this. We do have a lot of pedestrians, a lot of traffic in this area. It's creeping up to the intersection. Creeping forward to check for visibility. I'm going to tap the accelerator just to let the car know that it's okay to proceed, because we've got an opening here. And we will end the route right here and get on to the next leg of our journey. So how did it perform today? Well, I definitely think that this environment is well beyond the scope of what FSD can safely deliver. I did have multiple interventions. The car seemed to have issues with detecting pedestrians and traffic in very unusual situations. But that being said, I do think the technology is great, and I think that it's come a long ways from the last 8 months of updates that I've seen. So anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you on the next one.